Welcome to this edition of We Are the Church, a daily word of encouragement from the First United Methodist Church in Orange, California. Happy Friday! The word today comes from a book I picked up a few years ago on a trip to Idaho at my favorite truck stop. It's on the banks of the Columbia River. The book is called What If God Wrote Your To-Do List? 52 Ways to Make the Most of Every Day. It's one of those great books you don't have to read in order, but you can pick from the chapters whatever moves you on any given day. What I picked to talk about today is insight from chapter 8, which is called Squirrels, Armadillos, and Kangaroos. It's based on Psalm 145, verse 5, which says, I will meditate on your majestic, glorious splendor and your wonderful miracles. The author recommends that we need to take more time to be amazed by the everyday stuff we take for granted. I've had squirrels on my mind for the last few days because 2 days in a row I took a trip to church in my car, and there were 2 incidents with squirrels that just fascinated me. The first was that the car was a ways in front of me, was moving rather rapidly. And I saw the squirrel jump out from one side of the street to cross the street. And he made it across, but just barely. Timing is everything, as we know, and he timed it perfectly. And the other day, I saw a squirrel. It may or may not have been the same squirrel, but it was in almost exactly the same spot. Take off from the far curb and stop just as he would have been run over by the tire of the car in front of me, and he turned and scurried back faster than the wheel would have run over him. He was really fast. The squirrels I see in my neighborhood aren't nearly as fast. They just don't fight with the traffic. There's a very large cable that runs diagonally across an intersection just south of my house. And you often, if you look carefully, will notice that the squirrels are tight-roping across the intersection. We need to look for God everywhere and in everything, and it has to be God at work with these antics I see the squirrels playing. No one can make this stuff up. I've also seen the squirrel get the best of our poor little dog. Squirrel sits on our back wall in perfect posture with that big bushy tail hanging up there, and the dog is staring. He knows he saw something move, but he's not quite sure what. And he stares for what feels like a very long time, and then all of a sudden that squirrel will just whip its tail the least little bit, and the dog starts to bark, and then the dog gets confused again because there's no more movement. So the thing to take away from this is to look at what's going on around you, not to take it for granted. God's in everything, and the closer you look at some things, the more you realize that he is truly there in everything on this earth. Please pray with me for a moment. Lord, Please help us to see the miracles in the daily things that come across in our lives, and help us to look for your wonder and your majesty in the most unusual places. Amen.